In the world of hunting, trajectory is the name of the game. You miss your mark by an inch, and you might as well have missed by a mile. That is exactly why serious hunters are always chasing that one elusive factor: flat shooting precision. We are looking for rounds that fly so straight and hold so steady that they practically defy gravity. Whether you are setting up for a cross-canyon shot on a western hunt or demanding high-velocity performance at high altitude, these calibers are fundamentally changing how American hunters take down big game. You ready to leave bullet drop in the dust? Let's get into the 5 flattest shooting cartridges that will blow your mind, and depending on the rifle, maybe even your shoulder. Number 5. 6.5 300 Weatherby Magnum. Coming in at number 5, we have the speed king of the 6.5mm family, the 6.5 300 Weatherby Magnum. Introduced back in 2016, this is factory-loaded hot by the folks over at Weatherby. They took the massive 300 Weatherby Magnum case and necked it down to hold a .264 diameter projectile. We are talking about bullets ranging from 127 up to 140 grains. Now, let's talk numbers, because this thing is moving. With the 127 grain Barnes LRX, you are looking at 3,500 feet per second at the muzzle. Even a heavier 140 grain A-frame bullet is leaving the barrel at nearly 3,400 feet per second. That is generating muzzle energy between 3,400 and 3,700 foot-pounds. So why is this on the list? Because it is a flat shooting monster. The 6.5 300 Weatherby Magnum holds the title for the fastest production 6.5mm cartridge on the planet. It takes those high ballistic coefficient bullets and pushes them at absolutely insane velocities. The result is a trajectory that is laser beam flat, with very little drop even when you push past 500 yards. If you are a hunter who demands extreme performance for elk, mule deer, or sheep in steep country, this is your tool. However, there is no free lunch in ballistics. The pros are obvious. It is the flattest trajectory you can get in this caliber class, and it hits like a freight train. But the cons? You are going to pay for it in recoil and significant muzzle blast. Also, this round is a barrel burner. If you get 600 to 800 rounds of peak accuracy out of a barrel, you are doing good. This is not a high-volume range toy. It is a specialized tool for specific rifles like the Weatherby Mark V AccuMark or the Backcountry 2.0. Number 4. 257 Weatherby Magnum. Moving to number 4, we have a true legend, the 257 Weatherby Magnum. This is the original speed demon, introduced all the way back in 1944 by Roy Weatherby himself. Roy took the legendary 375 H&H Magnum case, shortened it, blew it out, and necked it down to .25 caliber. This was Roy's favorite cartridge, and for good reason. With a 100 grain bullet, you are screaming out of the muzzle at 3,600 feet per second. Even the heavy 120 grain loads are pushing 3,200 feet per second. The muzzle energy sits right around 3,100 foot-pounds. Why does this matter? Because the 257 Weatherby is widely considered one of the flattest shooting commercial cartridges ever designed. Roy built this thing to ignore gravity. At 400 to 500 yards, this round drops significantly less than almost any other standard caliber on the market. It is an absolute dream for open country hunters targeting pronghorn, antelope, and whitetail deer across the windy plains. The pros here are undeniable: incredibly flat trajectory and devastating hydrostatic shock on light to medium game. Because it moves so fast, wind drift is minimal. The cons are typical for a Weatherby Magnum. Barrel wear is accelerated due to that extreme velocity. Ammo is pricey and usually requires you to buy Weatherby brand brass. Also, to get that advertised velocity, you really need a 26-inch barrel. If you chop the barrel, you lose the magic. You will mostly find this chambered in the Weatherby Mark V and the Vanguard series. Number 3. 26 Nolser. Number 3 is a modern powerhouse. The 26 Nolser. Built from the ground up to be one of the flattest shooting cartridges in history, it delivers serious power with blistering speed. Nolser introduced this back in 2013, kicking off their proprietary cartridge family. They took the massive 300 Remington Ultra Magnum, or rum case, shortened it, and necked it down to 6.5 millimeter. The mission was simple: maximum speed, flat trajectory, no compromises. It pushes bullets so fast that it practically erases the need for holdover inside of 400 yards. You just put the crosshairs on hair and pull the trigger. This is arguably one of the most potent 6.5 millimeter cartridges in existence, ideally suited for long-range elk, sheep, and mule deer. Because that velocity is so high, the terminal performance is devastating, even way out past 500 yards. Let's look at the trade-offs. On the plus side, you have amazing long-range ballistics and very little wind drift. On the negative side, this is another barrel burner. Expect 800 to 1200 rounds of barrel life. It also kicks harder than your standard 6.5 Creedmoor, or PRC, and it requires a standard long-action receiver. You will see this chambered in rifles like the Nolser M48, the Christensen Arms Mesa, and the Weatherby Mark V. Number 2, 28 Nolser. At number 2, we have the big brother, the 28 Nolser. Introduced in 2015, this round uses that same shortened 300 rum parent case, but it is necked up to hold a 7 millimeter projectile. This cartridge was designed to squeeze every ounce of performance out of high BC 7 millimeter bullets. People love comparing this to the 7 mil Rem mag or the 300 Win mag. But the truth is, the 28 Nolser beats them both in velocity and energy, all while fitting in a standard long action. Ballistically, it is a beast. If you load a 180 grain Berger 5 LD, you are getting velocities around 3,150 feet per second. That outperforms the 7 mil Rem mag by nearly 200 feet per second. This makes it an exceptional choice for elk, moose, and mountain goats in wide open terrain. It is also a favorite for the extreme long-range crowd, ringing steel at 1,000 yards and beyond. The pros are extreme velocity and energy retention. It outperforms many .30 caliber magnums in trajectory. The cons? Short barrel life is a reality here. You are burning a lot of powder down a relatively narrow bore. Recoil is stout, definitely more than a 6.5 PRC, but generally manageable with a good muzzle brake. Top-tier rifle makers are all over this round. You can find it in the Bergara B14, Christensen Arms Ridgeline, and the Savage 110 High Country. Number 1, 7 millimeter PRC, and finally taking the number 1 spot, the 7 millimeter PRC. This cartridge has exploded in popularity because it balances raw performance with modern chamber design. Developed by Hornady and released late in 2022, the 7 millimeter precision rifle cartridge is based on the beltless 375 Ruger case. Unlike the older Magnums, this was designed from the drawing board for modern, long-range shooting. It features a standardized match-style throat, optimized for long, sleek, heavy bullets, like the 180 grain ELD match, without having to seat the bullet deep into the powder column. We are seeing muzzle velocities right around 2,950 to 3,000 feet per second with 180 grain bullets. This gives you a supersonic effective range well past 1,200 yards. It is a highly efficient design. The key advantage here is the twist rate and chamber geometry. It is built to stabilize those heavy for caliber bullets that buck the wind and retain energy way out there. It excels at PRS-style matches and ELR shooting while being an absolute hammer on elk and moose. Drawbacks? The recoil is stout. It is going to feel closer to a 300 Win mag than a 6.5 Creedmoor. And since it is newer, ammo availability can sometimes be spotty compared to older legacy rounds, though that is changing fast. However, for a factory round that does it all, from ringing steel at a mile to dropping an elk in the next zip code, the 7 millimeter PRC is the new king of the hill. There you have it. 5 cartridges that flatten the curve and take the guesswork out of long-range shooting. Whether you go with the classic speed of the Weatherby or the modern efficiency of the PRC, physics is on your side. If you run any of these calibers, drop a comment below and let us know your load data and results. If you enjoyed this breakdown, crush that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next upload. Train hard, shoot straight, and we will see you on the range.